in the course of giving us the history of UMUOWA, you made mention of one other prominent UMUOWA sons in the person of Mr. Anugom,
yes,
or rather Chief Anugom, Samwamba Anugom. And you said he led UMUOWA very well.
Very well.
And for you to have remembered him, indeed, he led UMUOWA well.
Yes, he did.
In this our present time now, we have UPU crisis at the national level, because I know at state levels, there are no controversy, but at national level, who should have been the epicenter of UMUOWA development, we're having power tussle. In as much as I know that seeking for political position is a desire of who really wants to add value to any society, be it at national level, state level, even at community level. It's a good thing, especially when the man who is desiring to occupy this, the seats available, he has something at the back of his mind, a value that he wants to add. I am believing that this desire to add value to UMUOWA community might have prompted our people to seek for various positions of UPU at national level. But the situation they have left the union now at national level is becoming an embarrassment. It doesn't appear to look like the thing UMUOWA people are known for. We are highly organized people. We respect our elders, but I wouldn't want to, point any accusing finger at anybody. But it's becoming worrisome to see that UPU at national level cannot produce substantive executive council. We are worried about it. But we know from you what you think might be the remote cause and the immediate cause or causes that might have brought about this power tussle at the national level of UPU.
Yeah, it's as embarrassing to you as it is to me, because the present tussle is repulsing me from active participation in the UPU affairs. Like the Samwamba I talked of and you mentioned, in his own time, everybody cooperated. If there's a levy in UMUOWA, everybody paid it without grudges. And UMUOWA, in fact, his leadership, let me call it aura or something, spilled into the building of our seminary. The seminary was built by everybody. That is the first stage of that was a Mary seminary. Getting the land for it wasn't a problem at all. Everybody cooperated and offered land. And young men were selected to go outside and pick up levies from everybody. And then there was no discrimination whether you were a Christian or a pagan or anything. No, everybody contributed into the building of the seminary. I remember I have an uncle, my late uncle. They traveled to Ikwere, to places, to Benin and all that, And if they came to you and you are no more taxable adult, and you haven't paid your own levy, they will remove whatever they want from your house if you have anything, and they will bring such a thing home. But I saw them coming back. There were some people they went to, all they could get from that person's house was the clammy rope, ete. They would take it also, and then would bring all that home, and the person must come back home to redeem it and still pay the levy. That's how we were able to build the seminary initially. And I was told that when they needed a lump sum to do something, somebody would dip his hand in his pocket and would, in those days, a pound, 1 pound, somebody bringing out 1 pound, or 10 pounds, or 20 pounds, and all that. It's like making available to your community 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. But people did it then without anybody saying, but everybody would be amazed and will clap for that person and will almost worship him. And the donor would always walk with his head up in his community. Someone played that kind of role. I won't be able to quote exactly where exactly he made contributions, but he continued to do it. There were other leaders of the town union who did things like that, who took up the building of the secondary school. They would get in there. By the time they were building the secondary school, I was still a young man. That was because for the start, I hadn't started working. I was still doing some schooling. But I know people took up that task happily, and there was no leadership tussle. If you are not the leader, you would be a very, very powerful follower. And of course, the leaders then made their own contributions. But recently, politics became very popular in the communities around us. And in politics, we talk of what do the Americans call it? Where you have to go to canvass for
Lobbying.
Lobbying. We got lobbying from America, but we don't lobby like the Americans. And we got a wrong thing from the American type of politics or British type of politics. The American will offer anything, including his life, for his country. But we don't have that kind of mind here to offer your life for your country or your state. We don't have it. So, people see politics at the national level, at the state level, as a place you get in and enrich yourself, gather enough to look after your family for generations to come. Then any position of power, be it the village leadership or the town leadership, people look at it as the same place where you can get in and then stay in the position where you can gather all the money that will come into your community. But that's not the idea that people had in those days. If you took up leadership in your community, you are going there to make sacrifices. But if you have your eye on leadership of your community and you are thinking of getting in there and maybe somehow the state will start disbursing money through you, if that is what somebody has at the back of his mind, then the struggle to be a leader, even of a small village, will cause a lot of uproar, misunderstanding, and then quarrels, and then tussle to, I don't know, which can result into anything. So that's what I think is causing the problem we have now. Leadership in the village, I don't want to deride them. I have been in a position of leadership, even though I wasn't at the top, but I was very near the top. And I occupied very powerful positions, not power as such, but sensitive positions. And I borrowed from Mamba and those who led in the past to offer what I could to my community. If it is honesty that will solve our problem, I will give it to you. But people now see that leadership, and if I come out to offer what I have, and you tell me to get out, I will quietly walk out and throw in the towel. But I don't think people are prepared these days to throw in the towel. You want to fight to the last of your blood. That is no good. The tussle for leadership here, because the politicians somehow have tried to invest in communities by asking them to build markets, to build that, and awarding contracts and getting somebody to do some of these contracts. Everybody wants to be part of it. That's what I think is causing the problem.
Okay. Sir, you mentioned that you had been in sensitive position.
Yes.
Probably in our community.
Yes.
May we know what you people were able to achieve when you held that sensitive position? And we may equally want to know the position you held.
Okay.
And possibly if you can remember the period. And then the list of some of you people's achievements.
Okay. I was vice chairman or vice president, first vice president of UMUOWA Town Union. Not in this, in the 20th century. I was in that position maybe in 1990s up till 2000, and because my intention of taking up an office is just to give the service and then carefully or quietly step down. Unless I go to records now, I won't be able to keep in my head what year exactly I started being the vice president of the town union. But for all I know, by 2001, 2002, and in the late 1990s, I had become vice president one of UMUOWA Union. And that position made UMUOWA assign me to very sensitive positions too. Like when Father Segis Duru brought an idea into UMUOWA that he wants to build a school and a hospital. Then he started off with the hospital project, and the Germans were sending money through him. In fact, we had those on the group which he arranged in Germany. And then the leader of the group made him the forerunner of the project, those on the project in UMUOWA, which has number one, the building of a hospital, which is now St. Mary's Children and Community Hospital, UMUOWA. Money was coming in, and then UMUOWA looked around and felt I could handle that money with some people, or not alone. But in terms of stating how the money is spent and writing a report that will get to the Germans, because what the Germans did was send in money and you give a report of what you use the money for. Within a very short time, they want you to do it quickly and send back the report. Another lump sum will come. And I was in my house here when Father Duru and some more children, women and men, came to me and said, "Beben, this is what you're going to do for us. We want you to head the group that will see about this money, how it is spent, and writing a report to the Germans." I said, "It's okay. If that is the wish of the community, I will do it. My promise is, I have a record in the school system as a principal whose accounting is always very neat, and I say it proudly anywhere. I hadn't a bursar. That was what spurred me into being careful with money. I hadn't a bursar when I started being a principal in 1992, I think. Then I hadn't a bursar, so I collected school fees. I made the lodgements, and I went to the board to account for the money. And because I had no bursar, it worked so smoothly that my account is so straight that the auditors would always look at me as special, and they would have an easy kind of auditing. So in UMUOWA too, I used that little experience about handling cash, but I don't know the rigorous way of using the computer and all that and doing accounting. I don't know that. The computer almost frightens me, but the manual thing I did then was very, very good, and that was what I did with the hospital project. So the money came. I, with my group, who are called the project committee. I had persons like Mentu, Lala. Mentu is Clementu. Lala is Lala is what I usually call him, but he was my co-teacher in the secondary school and was my teacher boss. So Fidechi Mezier and who else again, we were in the committee that looked after that work. And we started off with the old site of the hospital, the house the women built for a health center. We used it for, that was where the hospital started. We refurbished that house because the house was even collapsing by the time we took over. So we had to build very strong pillars to hold it. And is working perfectly today. So we were able to recover that house, stop it from collapsing. We started the hospital there and then started building the new site. It was this same group of people who looked after the acquisition of land where the hospital is today. And it was a hell. It was a big tug of war. I hadn't been called names and hadn't been threatened as much as I was when we were trying to acquire the land there. Women rained abuses on me because I was at the head. My brother was the town union president then, and he would come and then tell us what to do, and would maybe be there for the start, and then would go back to Lagos to do his job. Then it would be me and Clement there and Lala and Chimezie who would be there on the ground to pick up everything and use tapes and all that to measure land and all that. And that wasn't an easy job because the owners of the land would do everything to make us get out of that place. But we had to do it because the community has asked us to do it. And then they had really hoped that UMUOWA project would collapse maybe as soon as it took off, that one would collapse too, and then they'll get back their land. But I pray to God that it did not collapse, and it did not collapse. And then we continued that job. There was a time I took up my record, and then I tried to say, how much have we been spending on this hospital after so long? I was talking, I was reading hundreds of millions of naira that the work had consumed up to the point I did this kind of wrong, rough estimation of what we did, or rough estimate. Then it was that group too that sank a borehole at the marketplace. There was a borehole there which Fide UMUOWA helped and provided a generator, a very powerful generating set to pull the water out from the borehole. And it worked. In fact, when we were sinking that borehole with the contractor, people said there was a rumor, there was a very strong rumor that we poured water into it and pumped the water out and then said we had sunk a borehole. So, in fact, there was one elderly man at the marketplace there. He was discussing with his fellow elderly people. Then, the water from the central borehole at down the hill, that was, the state had boreholes there.
Is it the one at Orebi?
Yeah. That was a state project that gave us water. When we were children in school, water flowed along the roads here. That borehole was supplying water. There were pipelines all through, and water, you could go out the road there and draw water. So one day, but that water dried up, and the government and its own projects, everything dried up. Water wasn't coming again. But they tried to rehabilitate that already borehole. At the time, we sank our own borehole at UMUOWA. Then, coincidentally, water was coming from Urebiri along the old pipeline, but they had become burst in various places. But at least people saw water coming from that place again. And we helped also with the help of Reverend Father from Oku, No, UMUOWA. King Desmond, he had a brother, a father. King Desmond, you know him?
No, I don't know.
Ah, okay.
He's Obisike.
Obisike. Father Obisike played a very prominent role. I think it was through his effort that we were able to build an overhead tank there to take the water from our own borehole. And then the sinking of the borehole was also through his own effort. He sent money and we were able to sink a borehole and build an overhead tank. And then when we proclaimed our borehole had been successful and water was coming out, the elderly man around there said, over, that was the word he used, that the one that was water was the one that came from the Werebiri borehole. That this thing we did here, over, it was, we poured water into the ground and then pumped it out again and said we had heat water and we were pumping water. So our prayer then was, let this borehole thing, let it be a success. And finally, that borehole became a success and pumped water that reached the immigration. We lay pipes down to immigration. But our Nigerian matter, there would always be something that would disrupt it. The pipes we laid that took the water to as far as the immigration, those pipes were tampered with by road construction and things like that, and that water stopped flowing. And then, but then what spoiled it was when UMUOWA was asked to provide money for us to buy diesel to pump that water. Our people couldn't do it. And then the water stopped flowing. But I know if anybody will come up today and rehabilitate that generator, because the generator is a very big one and was hardly used before everything ground to a halt. So we can now recount what we did. We fenced the secondary school right round, except the front that had just a dwarf wall. But the back, all through, because students here in UMUOWA went and acquired land beyond what we had at the beginning of that secondary school. The students used their, because people were trying to encroach and take back their land. So our students grouped themselves. I think somebody who was at the leadership of students then, by then I had become a big adult and I wasn't in the student union. But I know people like this, my brother here. The way the names run out of my mind is frightful to me. Maybe that is the effect of aging. I will remember as we go along. So the students came up and acquired plenty of land there, and to make sure encroachment doesn't come in, that our union, where I am the first vice and meant to the second vice, and my brother was the president, fenced that school. And what you did then was to walk around the place and divide it up into units. That is the distance every community would fence. We divided it up and then we put tags on. If Ejemekuru has from there to there.
There's some partition basis.
Yes, on partition basis. And our basis for partitioning was because we were able to start dividing both contributions and edibles by shares. We divided them all into 110 shares. And then this 110 was shared according to the population of each community. In fact, we called for their registers. So my own community today blames us for submitting the actual register. So that is my own village. That others didn't submit the actual register. They submitted registers that were kind of tampered with somehow. But we said, don't worry, God is good. He will reward us. So we have the greatest number. Ejikamuku and Omejikamuku. We have the greatest number. And it was that regime of Emebere that divided up UMUOWA into 25 villages instead of the former, I think, 9. Now it became 25. And that's what we worked with. So with the new arrangement of UMUOWA carved into 25 villages and given assignments according to the strength, the numerical strength of that village, and then we were able to accomplish the fencing of the secondary school by assigning partitions to villages according to their strength. Then you carry your own block, you do the whatever you need to do to get that fence done up, you do. And people responded very, very, very well. Everybody, every village was in the bush there, getting timber to bring sand, molding blocks, or if you wanted, you could buy ready-made blocks, but we preferred the ones molded down there. And it worked out very, very well. So we were able to fence the school. We were able to attract, we had an oil mill in the old UMUOWA. Oil mill with modern equipment of processing palm oil. And it performed. And then, but managing it couldn't continue. Is there a decay in the bush there now? And we're able to fence that oil mill and put a gate. I don't know what is inside it now. Maybe we could open it up one day and get in there and say, oh, we've been cannibalized. It's possible. I don't know what is inside of it now like. Because nothing is being done there. The hospital project, which I've already mentioned, which took hundreds of millions, and is still, in fact, that hospital now is worth billions now, because I attend the hospital board management meeting. I'm a member of the board management, and then I attend their meetings, and then from time to time there's a review of the strength of the hospital, the staffing, the financial standing of the hospital, and so on. And it's billions now, no longer millions.
Okay. To come in, this borehole at UMUOWA, you pointed at. Some people are of the opinion that some UMUOWA indigenes in United States did that borehole project. How true is that?
I said, Father Obisike. Father Obisike. I don't know whether there are others, but Father Obisike prominently played a big role in sinking that borehole and providing an overhead tank.
Okay, no, we want to make it clear.
Yeah.
Is it that during your regime that the project was funded
Yes.
by Reverend Father Obisike?
Yeah.
And you people managed the project?
Yes.
As the funds were coming
Yes.
Okay, that is clear. But was there any time they mentioned our sons and daughters living in the United States making any contribution with regard to that project?
Yeah, there were several aspects of that job, like piping and all that. I won't be able to say exactly now what amount was sent in and where it was plowed in. We need to go to the record of the town union to dig up those facts. But I know Father Obisike was very prominent in the sinking of the borehole and in making an overhead tank. He wasn't coming here to perform. He would use the town union. And then the UMUOWA indigenes outside, if they wanted to do anything, they would send in funds and then the union would use it. So, but what I'm saying very proudly is if anybody sent in anything, if we dig into our records, we will see what money he brought or they brought and where it was plowed into.
Yes.
As long as I was there. In fact, I was at the center of UMUOWA spending. We built even a principal's house because, you know, where the principal's house was before was part of a UMUOWA. So we had to build his own house inside the school compound. We built the principal's house there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the essence of establishing this television, to unravel some of the activities that took place in UMUOWA in the past. Because why this particular question is very important is that the people that championed the cause of sinking borehole, construction of the overhead tank, and then piping of that's having a pipe-borne water reticulation within UMUOWA community has been a story of controversy. Some people believe that people from our sons and daughters from United States did the project. It's now coming from the horse's mouth. Several people played a vital role, but the center, the person that anchored the sponsorship of that project remains our dear Reverend Father Obisike. And our elder is not saying in specific terms that some people did not contribute, but it's only saying that it might have been coordinated. That's talking about funds, might have been coordinated by Reverend Father Obisike. But keep on watching our television. We will dig into the matter. We will one day visit Father Obisike and then hear from him the role he played. Because the idea is to remove all manner of rumors, unfounded rumors. People come with all manner of allegations. Sometimes some of these allegations are unsubstantiated. But we, UMUOWA.net television will continue to investigate until the truth is known by everybody. Because we want to get rid of our community. Rumor mongering, unfounded allegations, and clear the facts. because it will be wrong for somebody to put in a whole lot of energy trying to develop one's community. And some people out there who are not even thinking on how to add value to UMUOWA, their own stock in trade is to rubbish the integrity of that person. That we cannot, is unacceptable to us, and we will do everything to clear the air. As we progress in this interview, sir.
Yeah, before you round up this area, Father Obisike is not resident here in UMUOWA, he's in the United States. So whatever I was bringing is coming from the United States.
Okay, you can hear that now. What that means is that some people claiming that people from United States played a role might not be entirely wrong. But what is there is that they are not presenting this matter in a healthy manner as to propel people who are committed to developing this, our community, giving them energy, fueling them to do more. But as I said earlier, we will one day visit Reverend Father Obisike and interview him on the issue. Maybe he will be the one to tell us how he was able to realize his money, how he was able to, the people that he sent the money to, and then why the project stopped somewhere along the line. But my own view as an engineer is that from our elders' clearance, it seems to me that the borehole is still intact. What is there is for us to find a means of taking the water from the well